Alright guys, I just want to start off this video by saying that I saw a lot of you yesterday in my previous video about what's wrong with the Detroit Pistons. A lot of you stopped watching like before the 30-second mark, and I just want to apologize for that. I would love it if you could go rewatch the video and watch it past the 30-second mark, just because, well, you'll see once you watch it, but I would highly encourage you. I'm going to give you the notice that that video was not bashing the Pistons anyway. Actually, it was going to do quite the opposite if you made it past the 30-second mark. So if you didn't watch the whole video, I would highly encourage you to go watch that now. And I'm sorry for misleading you at the beginning of the video. Now that we got that out the way, we can talk about what I want to talk about this video, which is once again Stanley Johnson. Now, an article came out on ESPN or NBA.com or something like that, where a bunch of these analysts picked their favorites to win Rookie of the Year. And as expected, a lot of them either picked Emmanuel Mudiay and Jahlil Okafor, but what upset me was that someone picked Justice Winslow. And nothing against Justice Winslow at all. Like I said in my rookie recap of him, I think he's going to be a great player in the upcoming years for this league, and I still believe that. But I don't think that they should have put him ahead of Stanley Johnson. Not only that, Stanley Johnson did not get one single mention, which I think is crazy, because if you look at this draft, I feel like Stanley Johnson is the best all-around overall player. But to win Rookie of the Year award is basically a popularity contest and who puts up the most points per game, where rookies like Mudiay and Okafor will have a huge advantage just because they will be asked to carry the entire offensive load on their team, basically, because their teams aren't going to be really competing for a playoff spot in the Denver Nuggets and especially the Philadelphia 76ers, where Jahlil Okafor was drafted and is already the best player on that team. So he's going to be the main hub of that offense. He's going to be touching the ball every single possession. He's already guaranteed a starting spot along with Mudiay. So their offensive production is going to be better than Stanley Johnson's just because they're being asked to do more than him. Now, if you would have put Stanley Johnson on the Sixers, I'm sure Stanley Johnson would win Rookie of the Year too, just because he would not only average a lot of points, he would average a lot of assists, he'd probably get a lot of rebounds, a lot of steals, a lot of blocks. He would fill up the stat sheet each and every single night. Being on a more talent-rich Detroit Pistons team is gonna hurt his case to win Rookie of the Year. But that being said, I still cannot believe they picked Justice Winslow to win Rookie of the Year over Stanley Johnson. Like I said before, I don't think Stanley Johnson will win Rookie of the Year this year. I honestly believe it's going to Jahlil Okafor just because he's NBA ready, you know, he's a developed postman. He's already like Greg Monroe, Al Jefferson type player already, so he already has a very polished offense where he's not going to do much on the defensive end at all just because he's not a good defensive player. He will average probably between 17 and 20 points per game this season playing for the Philadelphia 76ers, so that basically locks him in for Rookie of the Year. But that is by no means to say that he is the best rookie. I personally feel that in 5 years, the best rookie from this class could very well be Stanley Johnson. He has everything it takes to be a great player in this league. You listen to the way he talks in all of his interviews, all he talks about is that he wants to be great. He wants everyone and everything around him to be great. He is a perfectionist. And someone who has that same mindset, someone that you guys might know, that should know, that has that same exact mindset, is Kobe Bryant. Not saying that he's going to be next Kobe Bryant, don't get me wrong. That would be, I'm not saying that's not possible, but that would be a long shot. He's still going to be a very good player, like a top tier player, but say this next Kobe, that might be a bit of a long shot. Anyways, getting off track. The thing that reminds me of him, Kobe Bryant, is his work ethic and his personality. Like I said, he wants to be the greatest. He really believes he can be the greatest. He's putting in the work to be the greatest. Now all he has to do is keep putting in that work, keep that mindset throughout these first like 3 or 4 years of his of his NBA career, and you will see that. You will see him develop into one of the best players in this league, and that's one of the things that I think the Detroit Pistons took him, because they saw his desire to be great. They saw his desire to make everyone around him great. They saw that he was just a natural born winner. You could be the most talented player in the world, like the most offensively, defensively, whatever, just the most gifted player the NBA has ever seen. But if you don't have the work ethic and the desire to be great, you will never be great. You can still be a good NBA player just off your offensive gifts or whatever gifts that you have alone. But you will never be as good as a player who wants to be great, that didn't have those gifts, who wasn't gifted in any way in the offensive or defensive end. He wasn't just like handpicked, who wasn't a protege or whatever you want to call it. the person with the desire to be great will always be better with a person who has no desire to be great but was already born gifted, if that makes any sense to you. Still can't believe this man said Justice Winslow over Stanley Johnson. These analysts are clueless, but it's all good because they will all be on the Detroit bandwagon sometime this season. Do you know how stupid I look? I just got done saying how great they could be. They could finish 5th in the East, maybe get a 50 and some record. This is gonna be a team to look out for, all this other stuff. I said all of that, and now look, I have to eat my own words. That right there is exactly how I will be reacting if I didn't realize that this is just the preseason, solely the preseason. It means absolutely nothing, and let me tell you why.